cultural capital of Karnataka. Sanskriti Foundation is governed by a board of trustees registered in 1999 as a public trust and having its administrative office at Mysore, the cultural capital of Karnataka. Sanskriti Foundation is governed by a board of trustees and guided by an advisory council consisting of stalwarts from the field of academics, administration, law, and science and technology.
Hello, check. Hello, test. Check. Hello, hello.
On behalf of the Samskriti Foundation, I extend a very warm welcome to all the dignitaries, participants, paper presenters, chairpersons, and all other persons, including the members of the press who have come here. So, Sarvebhyaha Suswagatam. We start with a short 6-minute video on Samskriti Foundation to acquaint all of you regarding our activities. As soon as the video is over, we will start the inaugural function. So, video please. One minute. Please check the audio.
Regarded as a holy Badrinath of God. Registered in 1999 as a public trust and having its administrative office at Mysore, a cultural capital of Karnataka, Samskriti Foundation is governed by a board of trustees and guided by an advisory council consisting of stalwarts from the field of academics, administration, law, and science and technology, popularly regarded as the Holy Badrinath of South, Nirvode or Tirunarayanpuram, has been acclaimed for its tradition and divine wisdom. Known as the Gnana Mandapa, it was here the saint reformer Sri Ramanujacharya spent a major portion of his life, creating a spiritual revolution and re-establishing the eminence of Vedic knowledge. The inspiration has encouraged the establishment of Samskriti Foundation at Melkote with a mission to preserve and propagate the culture and scientific heritage of India, focusing on its contemporary relevance and utility.
Samskriti Foundation is trying to explore the Indian knowledge systems. It wants to show the relevance of the Indian knowledge systems even today. And most of the Indian knowledge systems are stored in the ancient texts which are in the form of palm-leaf manuscripts. There is a wonderful saying which goes as follows. भारतस्य प्रतिष्ठे संस्कृतं संस्कृतिस्तथा. Two unique aspects that define the contribution of Indians to the entire world at large are the Indian culture and Sanskrit language. Sanskrit language is the vehicle through which Indian culture is reached to the masses at large. Samskriti Foundation is engaged in the revival and propagation of both Sanskrit language and Indian culture, which are intertwined with each other.
Samskriti Foundation's activities can be broadly classified under three basic categories. 1. Fundamental research into our traditional knowledge systems based in Sanskrit. 2. Transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research, combining theories of modern science and traditional Indian knowledge. 3. Outreach programs that involve publication of important texts with commentaries and translations, etc., in the form of web apps and mobile apps, books, and such other media. It also includes extensive online and in-person classes on various aspects of Indian cultural heritage. Fundamental research involves research into the very basic core of Indian knowledge systems. Prominent among them is the flagship program of the Samskriti Foundation known as Gnana-Shwata, a mammoth virtual online knowledge structure that houses the entire gamut of traditional knowledge in its various dimensions under a single umbrella. Other programs under fundamental research include research leading to the preparation of publications like Sanskrit English Dictionary of Yoga based on fundamental texts of yoga, critical edition of texts like Patanjali's Yoga Sutra Bhashya, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and other yoga works with English translations, illustrations, and notes. An overview of Yoga Upanishads and their contribution to yoga in English, Yoga in Puranas and Upapuranas in English along with the original Sanskrit texts, and including a very interesting comprehensive publication on Upavasa, fasting, transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research. This includes, among others, an exhaustive project on heritage of Indian metallurgy, which involves an application-oriented study of the history of metallurgy in India in 10 volumes, a comprehensive e-catalogue of ancient manuscripts and books on metallurgy and alchemy, an encyclopedic dictionary on Indian metallurgy and alchemy. Another important research project aims to catalogue all the ancient palm leaf manuscripts pertaining to 40 different fields of science and technology like mathematics, astroscience, gemology, behavioral sciences, etc. There are many such other projects that bring together traditional knowledge and modern science.
At Samskriti Foundation, we propose to revive and propagate seemingly several extinct areas of knowledge like Bharadwaja Vimana Shastra, the traditional Indian aeronautics, Dhanurveda, the ancient Indian warfare, and such other topics.
Outreach programs. These include self-teaching multimedia programs in the form of web apps and mobile apps. These multimedia self-teaching programs comprises of various modules including multiple modes like recite mode, teach me mode, tell me mode, and search features with different filters to facilitate easy learning and understanding of the texts. The four major components of this program are Sage Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Hatha Yoga Pradipika,
प्रणम्य श्री गुरुं नाथं प्रणम्य श्री गुरुं नाथं
Sharada Script Teaching Package, Panchasuktam.
अथ पुरुषो हवै नारायणो कामयत प्रजासृजेति
भारतीय संस्कृतेः वैज्ञानिकज्ञानपरम्परायाः प्रकृतोपयोगित्वद्योतनार्थम् इयं संस्था कटिबद्धा वर्तते। एतदर्थम् अनया संस्थया अनेकानि कार्याणि क्रियमाणानि वर्तन्ते। एवम् उत्तरकाले अपि समस्तलोकोपकारकान् अनेकान् नूतनान् आविष्कारान् समर्पयितुम् अस्मदीया इयं संस्था उद्युक्ता वर्तते।
Another important outreach project is the publication of the Kannada version of the Valmiki Ramayana in 8 volumes and Sage Vyasa's Srimad Bhagavatam also in 8 volumes, authored by Pandit Devashikhamani Alasingaracharya.
In the coming years, Samskriti Foundation is poised to contribute significantly to showcase the importance of our traditional knowledge in such a way that it can provide indigenous, sustainable, eco-friendly, cost-effective solutions in science and technology in very relevant fields. This was the dream of our founder Lakshmi Tatacharya, and we feel a time has come to achieve it.
Samskriti Foundation is a credible NGO certified by the Credibility Alliance. The trust has obtained tax exemption under sections 12A and 80G of the Income Tax Act, along with eligibility to receive foreign contributions under the FCRA rules and receive contributions under the CSR scheme of the Government of India. Samskriti Foundation welcomes one and all to join this exciting journey
in preserving the cultural and scientific heritage for prosperity in India.
I now have the privilege of inviting on stage our Honorable President, Professor E.S. Dwarka Dasa, former Chairman of the Department of Metallurgy, Indian Institute of Science, and also President of Samskriti Foundation. I request Dr. Akhilesh Jha, Chief Controller of Accounts, Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, to kindly come on stage. I request Dr. CSR Prabhu, former Director General, National Informatics Center, New Delhi, to kindly come on stage. I also request Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, Executive Director, CDAC Bangalore, to kindly come on stage. We now begin with a Vedic invocation by Sri Aniruddhan and his associate.
हरिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 शन्नो मित्रः शं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ
Thank you, Sri Aniruddhan, for the nice Vedic invocation. I now request a very acclaimed musician couple, Sri Andal Sri Ram and Sri Andal Sri Ram, to kindly give the invocation.
श्रीमती रामानुजन ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे हयग्रीवम् उपास्महे
या श्रद्धा धारण मेधा या श्रद्धा धारण मेधा वाग्देवी विधिवल्लभा या श्रद्धा धारण मेधा वाग्देवी विधिवल्लभा भक्तजिह्वाग्रसदना भक्तजिह्वाग्रसदना शमादि गुणदायिनी भक्तजिह्वाग्रसदना शमादि गुणदायिनी शमादि गुणदायिनी.
Thank you very much, Shri Sriram and Srimati Andal Sriram. As we all know, over the last 2 to 3 decades, there has been a renewed interest in the Indian traditional knowledge systems, which are basically housed in Sanskrit language. In fact, there has been a lot of interest among scientists and scholars alike to bring together these two seemingly different fields and see if there can be any synergy in applying the ancient Indian knowledge systems to the modern context and also assess their contemporary relevance. In this context, Samskriti Foundation has been very much active. In fact, it was Professor Lakshmi Tatacharya who was the founder of Samskriti Foundation, who was a pioneer in delving deep into the scientific aspects of Sanskrit and the Indian knowledge systems. As you have seen in the video just now, we have been doing a lot of work in the area of transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research. And one of the focal areas is the area of information technology that includes various aspects like cryptography, speech synthesis and speech recognition, natural language processing, etc. So our committee decided that the first seminar should be on this topic only. That is why we have actually titled this seminar as Samiksha-1, as you can see. And in due course, with the help of the concerned authorities, we propose to carry on this series, and we want to have contribution of Sanskrit and Indian knowledge systems to material sciences, behavioral sciences, and several other areas of science and technology. We are very happy to have the support of the Ministry of Science and Technology, and today we are extremely privileged to have a great scholar as well as a very senior official of the Ministry of Science and Technology represent the ministry. I am extremely happy to welcome Shri Akhilesh Jha ji, who is representing the Ministry of Science and Technology and shall be inaugurating the seminar today. I would just like to mention a few words about Shri Jha. We come across several senior persons belonging to the Account Service of India who are not at all scholars. They are worried only about the accounts. And on the other hand, we have several scholars who contribute to various areas of knowledge. But I feel it's the rarest of rare occasions indeed that we have a scholar who is also one of the senior most officials in the accounts department. He is the chief controller of accounts of 3 different ministries, and he has authored 22 books, and he himself is a scholar in the Vedas as well as Sanskrit language and literature. So I have had the opportunity of interacting briefly with him several times, and every time I learn something new from him. and I have also had the privilege of reading several books that he has authored. Apart from that, he is also a great musician who has actually documented all the ancient, old music albums that were there, especially those pertaining to the patriotic songs. That way, he is a multifaceted personality. एते महान्तः न केवलं संस्कृतभाषायां संस्कृतव्याकरणे वेदे वेदान्ते च कृतभूरिपरिश्रमाः अपि तु विज्ञानक्षेत्रेपि एतेषां योगदानं बहुधा वर्तते. एतेभ्यः संस्कृतिप्रतिष्ठानस्य परतः अहं हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि. This seminar is all about information technology and Sanskrit. And one very unique exponent of both Sanskrit and information technology is Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, who is the Executive Director of CDAC Bangalore. In fact, he is also another very important representative of the Government of India because he is heading the CDAC, which is an organization of the Government of India under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And we found no other person more befitting than Dr. Sudarshan to give the keynote address of this seminar. He is also a scholar. Not only is he a scholar in Sanskrit and information technology, he is once again a multifaceted personality. He has interest in animal husbandry, he has interest in traditional farming. In fact, he has initiated a program from CDAC on traditional Indian farming. These are all out-of-the-box ideas that can contribute greatly to the revival and preservation of the Indian knowledge systems. एतेभ्यः अपि संस्कृतिप्रतिष्ठानस्य परतः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि. Another great luminary who has adorned the firmament of information technology and Sanskrit is Dr. C.S.R. Prabhu. He belongs to a family of Sanskrit scholars. He himself is a Sanskrit scholar and Vedic scholar, and he was heading the National Informatics Center as its Director General for several years. In fact, I remember meeting him in his office in CGO complex in Delhi nearly 30 years ago when I was a young boy. And he was very closely associated with Professor Lakshmi Tatacharya, and there are several unique instances where there are very nice anecdotes which I don't want to go into right now. But he was one of the pioneers in bringing together traditional knowledge and Indian culture and information technology as well as modern science. So it is our privilege that we have him here as the chief guest of this function. Etebhyah namo vakapurvakam swagatam vyahara. All the programs that we have undertaken by the Samskriti Foundation are driven by the inspiration and also the unique guidance provided by our Honorable President, Professor Dwarka Dasa. He himself, once again, is a Sanskrit scholar and a very unique and acclaimed scientist. He was heading the metallurgy department, material sciences department in the Indian Institute of Science, and his students are carrying forward his legacy all over the world. It's not an exaggeration. And he has been instrumental in taking into account each and every detail of what we do, and he has been the inspiration behind this seminar also, because he is once again a scholar both in science and technology as well as Sanskrit. Etebhyah api namo vakapurvakam hardam swagatam vyahara. We are greatly privileged to have several stalwart scientists. I will not be able to name each one of them, and scholars, apart from faculty members of various colleges like Jyoti Institute of Technology, Vyoma Linguistic Labs Foundation, and several other persons who have come from all over the country and registered participants. We also have members from the press and persons from the National Institute of Advanced Studies. So I extend a very warm welcome to all of you, and I hope you have come here to enrich our experience in sharing this knowledge. As you all know, several stalwart scholars and scientists are participating in this 2-day seminar, and I am sure it will be an enriching experience for all of us. So I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Sarvebhyaha hardam swagatam vyaharam. Now I request the dignitaries on the dais to kindly light the traditional lamp and inaugurate the seminar.
ओङ्कारं बिन्दुसंयुक्तं नित्यं ध्यायन्ति योगिनः कामदं मोक्षदं चैव ओङ्काराय नमो नमः ओङ्काराय नमो नमः ओङ्काराय नमो नमः ओङ्काराय नमो नमः नमो नमः नमो नमः नमो नमः नमो नमः
I thank all the dignitaries for inaugurating the seminar. I now request Shri Akhilesh Jhaji to kindly give his inaugural address.
Respected Professor E.S. Dwarkadas ji, President of Sanskriti Foundation. Respected Dr. C.S.R. Prabhu. Respected Professor E.S. M.A. Alwar Sahab. And also respected Dr. Sudarshan S.T.G. And all the dignitaries and my colleague from DST, Pramod Shankar, and dear friends. It's really an honor and privilege to be here on this occasion. I'm a kind of history, so I used to be a student of a Vedic Gurukulam. I also was a pracharak of Sanskrit for about a decade. And as they say, anabhyase vishan vidya. So it takes everything away if you don't practice. And I landed up in a bureaucratic position because of my own karmas of past lives. But this is a great opportunity to be among scholars and for a purpose which is so greatly appreciated these days, as Dr. Alwar suggested. Here I'm representing Ministry of Science and Technology, and we have a very good program that is Science Heritage Research Initiative, SHRI. And by this program, we are trying to go back to our old traditional system of knowledge, where we did not differentiate between science and not doing science. So there was science in literature, there was science in music, and we had such lovely Vedic invocation and the musical invocation when we started this session. So there is a grammar in everything. There is a grammar in science, there is a grammar in music, there is a grammar in language. And Sanskrit is all about discipline. Sanskrit is all about colors. Sanskrit is all about notes that does soothing treatment to our ears and our all senses. So we are so proud to have associated with Sanskriti Foundation. It was so nice of Dr. Alva to have approached Department of Science and Technology for doing some meaningful collaboration to do something for our traditional Indic knowledge system. This morning I had a very pleasant discussion with one of his disciples, Sri Ganesh, and I was so pleased to see that even now in modern times people can devote all their lives for stream like Vyakarana. Normally we are all dedicated to our aspirations in B.Tech thing, MBBS thing, MBA thing and all that. And he has still so much to dedicate himself for. So I'm just taking this opportunity to learn a lot from all the keynote speakers and the sessions that is going to follow after this inaugural session. And whatever we learn from this seminar, which is going to last for 2 days, we are definitely going to apply that in our program called Shri. Since you are representing different kind of institutions and societies and workplaces, I would make an earnest request that please let everybody know that there is a program called Shri in Ministry of Science and Technology, which is trying to bridge a gap between the technology and our traditional knowledge system. And we deal with everything from stones to languages, from music to handicraft. So whatever we do today is a part of heritage. Whatever we eat, whatever we speak, whatever we wear, whatever we see all around, that is part of our heritage. We have inherited this from millenniums. So please spread this program among your colleagues, your peers, that there is a program called Shri. And we always welcome good ideas through which we can do some kind of technological intervention in the field of heritage. It was really a privilege to have accepted the kind request made by Dr. Alvar. And there was a term mentioned in his mail that without fail. So, sir, I have honored your directions, your orders. And please feel free to approach us for any further good project that we can collaborate with. And before I leave, I'll just make another request that there is always a scope of creating a synergy between what is science and what is our culture and heritage. So this was a very unique program that we conceived in Department of Science and Technology. Our Honorable Prime Minister and the Culture Minister and our S&T Minister, they all thought that we have to bridge the gap between our traditional knowledge system and the technology available today. So this is a very humble beginning that we have made. We have about 50 good projects currently running, and I think definitely share one aspect of our program, that one of our project is going to take our history back to 20,000 BC. We are going to do a project in Ratnagiri where we have got petroglyphs or geoglyphs, huge ones. Some of them are bigger than the size of this hall, which is going to rewrite our history. We are going to take our history thousands of years before Indus civilization. This is not prehistory, this is historical period. So this is going to define even the uh, historic periodicity of our history. So thanks a lot, sir, for giving me this opportunity to be here and learn from the great scholars that you have invited. And I wish all the success for this seminar. Thank you so much.
In the Amarakosha, there is a saying, it says, Mokshe dhihi jnanam, anyatra vijnanam shilpa shastrayo. So the word jnana in Sanskrit means that which liberates us, whereas the word vijnana is used in two senses, shilpam and shastram. Shilpam does not refer to iconography or sculpture. It refers to all the areas where skill is involved. So in fact, as Dr. Jha just pointed out, earlier there was no differentiation between science and Shastra. Of course, it is only of late that there has been a differentiation. But in reality, Shastra is science and science is Shastra, as mentioned in this very unique statement which says, Anyatra Vijnanam Shilpa Shastriyo, which has been very beautifully espoused by Dr. Jha, and it is our privilege that we have persons so passionate about our culture, our heritage, our history, to be heading one of the most important areas of science and technology. Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring talk. I now request Shri S.D. Sudarshan, Dr. S.D. Sudarshan, Executive Director of CDAC, to kindly give the keynote address.
Namo Namaha, Namaskara, very good morning. So, I would like to start first by giving my obedience to Dr. Tatachar, with whom we had very excellent interactions and exceptional guidance. And he is still motivating us, inspiring us to proceed in this area. And it is nice that Dr. Alvar is continuing the Samskriti Foundation with the same vigor and bringing the current generation to the table with the support of DST, the current program that is running. Thanks to Dr. Jha for your talk also, sir, for being present here. And it's really inspiring that we are now ready to showcase what we always had. That is something really good. And special thanks to the President Samskriti Foundation, and we have our Director General from NIC here, because they are all people, as already introduced by Dr. Alvar. Nobody can thrive with any one field or in only one area. Today we are looking for, at minimum, something like master of few but jack of all. That is needed. And for that, it is extremely important to collaborate, to communicate, to be together. So this Samiksha and the themes, they are very apt for CDAC, which is the organization doing the research part for the Ministry of Electronics and IT. We are in a way counterpart of Department of Science and Technology. And in terms of computing per se, many of you are aware there is a program called the National Supercomputing Mission, under which DST and Ministry of IT together, CDAC and IAC being the implementing and execution agency, from nowhere we have more than 25 supercomputers across the country today installed. And these supercomputers are meant for various research activities. The one at Bangalore is specifically targeted for two areas. One is the startup and MSME ecosystem. The second one is education for Tier 2. When they say Tier 2, we mean both physical and geographical locations, and also the kind of ranking that we follow in both cases. So essentially, it is the inclusion, if you want to call it that way. When you include more people, collaboration goes one level higher. So that is something we have. One major activity under that NSM umbrella is supporting language computing. And CDAC Bangalore has always been having a group on Indian heritage and language computing. And that team particularly has been interacting with Samiksha-1 Foundation for a long time. And we have had projects and collaborations running all the time. Whether there is a formal funding is there or not, the relationship has been sustained. So it's more like, remain with life when there are no funds, survive. Whenever we get a chance, like Dr. Jha and some infusion comes, we thrive, do little bit fast forward. That has been the style in which it has been going. It has not stopped. And the person who led it for a long time, Dr. Ramanujam, he'll be there tomorrow. He'll be chairing a session. Some of the team members are here, so they can throw more light on what we exactly do. From Pandulippi to Jnanaswata that was presented in the video and so on. That is something going on very great. And off late, we are all hearing something called quantum computing. It has become talk of the town. And if you really look at the quantum computing, CDAC is, by virtue of both its capabilities and also the position in the R&D institutes, we are doing an excellent job there. But that is one area I think our Indian knowledge that is available in our Shastras, that Paramanu and all those things, if we go a little bit more in depth, perhaps it can help us crack the quantum mystery. Today, we do not have a reliable quantum memory. And how will Shruti survive if we don't have memory? So it is very important we go back to that and figure out how the quantum memories kind of things can be done. And for that, a seminar like this where we collaborate is very critical. The transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary aspect becomes very important there. The other aspect is we have parallel computers today, highest capability, but the entire world acknowledges the capabilities are not utilized because software programmers, including someone like me, are unable to utilize the full capability sincerely and simply because of one reason. We are comfortable writing as we call single-threaded sequential program, whereas my system can have parallel processing capability. It's like we have an 8-way lane, 7 lanes are blocked. Then we say there is traffic jam. It doesn't work. So this is where the traditional mathematics that we are trying to follow is not able to scale up. The speed up is not achieved. Vedic mathematics perhaps has several solutions, because we see people writing simply on a blackboard. You give two large numbers, they can multiply without any steps, they write the answers. If we can learn a little bit into the software engineering paradigm, then Sanskrit can bring a revolution to the way we are using our parallel computers. For that matter, even your phone that you carry has a quad core today, 4 processors, and how to make use of them. So this is one thing that can result in a great scale up and better utilization of resources with optimal capabilities is possible. So mathematics is another area where our Vedic maths, some of the colleges are now introducing thanks to the new education policy, which is giving us the freedom. And we should make use of it to bring as much as possible the traditional knowledge that is imbibed and available in Sanskrit back to the main system. And definitely any such ideas, we are ready to collaborate, work with each of the team members, and please reach out to CDAC. And it is our mandate, and it is also our sincere commitment to work with people in this area. Then if you look at the other aspect, the way we have been say living agrarian society in one way, today most of the diseases, if we go back, are related to, as they call, a lifestyle. That's what they say. But if you dissect a little bit, one part is the psychosomatic part. They say it's a thought process, mental. The second one is the type of food we eat. These are the two fundamental reasons that are being told about, or that is what the medical fraternity talks about. If we come back again to our traditional ways, we always had seasonal food that was actually available locally with the diversity. We had such a genetic diversity in the kind of, whether it is grains, whether it is vegetables. You don't get the same cucumber for 50 kilometers away in olden days. It was unique at every place. And that ensured it suited our requirement. It was a mutually win-win situation. Somewhere we enter into some kind of a mass production and standardization. We do need standardization in some aspects, but not for this kind of things. But somehow the volume production and things resulted in so many chemical-based farming. And now the side effects are visible. We are going back to the traditional way. That is where Dr. Alvars are mentioning. We are trying to see if we can pull out our Vriksha Ayurveda and see, can we practice some of the aspects. And not only practice, how do we present it in a scientific or current evidence-based methodology, data-driven, so that the world can accept. That is something we are trying to work on. No major projects are there, but with whatever we can do on our own, kind of suo motu and pro bono, we are working on it. But it is all yielding results. And the beauty is, a very simple example I'll say before I conclude. We take a small farmer. We all know greens. In Kannada we call them soppu. You go to a farmer, they have a very small, maybe 2-3 cents of space. That's all they have. And when they grow these greens, almost 40% space is kept open for walking, so that they can spray water, they can do water, manure to be supplied, harvesting and all. And when we interacted with some of the farmers, this 40% space, first of all, that much production is not there. It is lost. The second one is that open area is ripe for weeds to come out. You need to do de-weeding. And third, human spray, so there is no uniformity. So in the end, production is almost 30% of what is actually possible because of quality-quantity combination in terms of final price or yield. So today we have a very small micro drone which doesn't need any approval for flying. Larger ones require approval and so many things. Now you cultivate soppu across entire field, 100% realization. So there is no weed because there is nothing else exposed to the sun. No open space. And the drone can uniformly spray. Zigzag, zigzag, done. It's a small field. Within 5 minutes it is done. So the yield can easily double, triple with the highest quality. And we can follow traditional methodology. Because today traditional methodology people are worried about size, shape, that results in lack of revenue or income. That can be addressed. So we can actually marry modern technology to our traditional one that is available in Vriksha Ayurveda and so many other places. That is definitely something we should go forward. And we are doing our bit a little bit and hope it will go forward. And just one more minute. The current machine learning technology that we talk about, there is always any AIML expert here will agree and say a few more things, that there is always a problem of overfitting and outliers being considered as a regular or vice versa, there are always biases that are questioned. So how can we use AIML where the bias aspect is taken out and whatever context sensitive things or situation awareness is being built in? So those things are possible if you look at our traditional way. Because most of our Shastras, when we read, as we mature, same thing means a different thing. You read it again and again, you get a different interpretation over a time. It is not that the interpretation is different, our maturity level and viewpoint is different. So it is the end consumer, from that point of view, system should respond. Not that the system responds and we adopt. Because system is for us, we are not for the system. It is humanity that has to get benefited. So such things are possible if we adopt the philosophy by which we teach. A simple example is, if I go to a 4th grade, I am a math teacher. When a student comes, what is 5 minus 3? We'll give you an example of, okay, you have 5 chocolates and he has 3, move it remaining 2, whatever it is we tell. What is 3 minus 5? It is not possible, go. The teacher also knows it is false. But for that time, at that level, that is the right answer. Anything else, the child will get confused, will not learn. But the same teacher, same student, 5 years later will talk about minus 2. The student does not tell the teacher, you taught me wrong 5 years back. We understand the teacher knows what to teach me. So this mass teaching, context insensitive outreach is a major challenge, which our Shistacharya system, Gurukula system, addressed it, because the Guru will teach based on the student and their maturity, their background, not in mass scale. But still, the Gurukulas had hundreds of students. They were able to do it. So I think the current NEP and our ancient systems are in the right direction. And if you adopt it right, some of the YouTube videos also we saw, and if you match it to the individual needs, definitely we are set for a long innings, and we are there to thrive. And with that, I will stop my speech for now. There are a few more things, maybe at the another activity, maybe next seminar, sir, when you talk on material science and all, will come back. I once again thank Samskriti Foundation and the great stalwarts on the stage and all the attendees. A big thank you. And CDAC is there to collaborate. And we believe in the 50% of the sloka that we have. 25% of learning comes from collaboration. 25% comes with time. So we have to endure and we have to collaborate. And that is something we have to maintain. And that was mentioned by our Dr. Jha also, saying that we will submit similar programs we will support. And Dr. Alwar mentioned about going to the next, as a series, not one time. So definitely that is something very nice. 50% you are already taking care, sir, of the sloka. So thank you so much. And thank you once again. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sudarshan, for the very inspiring speech. In fact, we got several insights with regard to how traditional knowledge can and modern science can come together. In fact, I was reminded of a very beautiful statement that is found in Charaka Samhita, where he says, Ekam Shastram Adhiyanaha Navidyat Shastra Nishchayam. If a person is an expert only in one field, of course he will be able to contribute, there is no doubt about it. But only those who are experts in multiple fields can bring together those fields and then contribute something new. And in that context, he says, Prajñam Navanavon Meshashalinim Pratibham Vidu. So Pratibha, which is flashes of brilliance, which is called as Navanavon Meshashalini Prajña. It comes only when a person has a multidimensional knowledge. So today, I think we are heading towards that stage where we bring together ancient science and technology and modern science and technology, and thus offer something new to the world that is of utmost relevance. Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring speech. Now I call upon Dr. CSR Prabhu to kindly give his address.
Respected Sri Dwarkadas ji, Akhilesh Jha ji, and Sudarshan ji, and my friend Alwar, with great respect, I pay my obeisance to Lakshmi Tatacharya, who was my close friend, mentor, philosopher, guide for a long time, and we have been family friends for a long time. So I'm very thrilled to be here with you today. Friends, the textbook perception of science and technology is that all science originated in West, either in England or nearby England. You take any subject, physics, chemistry, mathematics, any subject, you'll see the textbooks, so and so invented this, so and so discovered this. And if you look at the same textbooks in Russia, Russian books, they will not give the same names, but they'll give the Russian names. And if you see the German textbooks, they'll give German names. Only in India that our textbooks give Britishers' names and not Indian names for anything. Is it that for all the entire human civilization of 1 lakh years, at least 1 lakh years, according to anthropology, the Homo sapien has existed. He existed without any science and technology till the apple fell on the Newton's head. Without knowledge of gravitation, the Brihadishwaralayam was built, or the pyramids were built, or the Ajanta Ellora caves were built without having understanding of gravitation force or structure or strength of materials. Is it possible? So we have been deluded, we have been misled, we have been cheated in our academic perception, the picture which has been painted. If you look at the history of the humanity, we talk of 1 lakh years. Where was this 1 lakh years of civilization nurtured and flourishing? It was on the banks of river Saraswati. It was at Kurukshetra and beyond. So if you look at the Meerut, we have an old Stone Age, and we have Saraswati river going back to 40,000 years. Because Rigveda mentions the existence of Saraswati river in the biggest span of several miles of width. So that is a proof that the Rigveda was partly there when the Saraswati river was the maximum width, and it dried up before Mahabharata war. So you can see the stretch of civilizational flow of 1 lakh years. I have been to all those sites from Adibadri, Kurukshetra to Virana, Banavali, Rakikadi, the Indus Saraswati civilization, which is the original source of human civilization and source of knowledge and wisdom, which is there in the Rigveda onwards till today. So the Srota, the original source of the world wisdom, world knowledge, because what was there in England? It was forest. What was there in Rome? It was forest. When the Rigveda was prevalent, when Saraswati river was very big, and so knowledge will always get diffused from high intensity areas to low intensity areas. So knowledge got diffused from the Vedic civilization of the Saraswati Indus Valley into Arabs, from Arabs to Europeans. So that's why, for example, you have the Arabic numerals, they say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are not Arabic. They are called Hind-Sa in Arabia. So you will see very easily that whether it's mathematics, chemistry, metallurgy, astronomy, you name it, it has gone from the Vedic lore into the Arabs first, and then from Arabs to the Europeans. Because they didn't even have the decimal number system. It was Einstein who declared that, but for India, there will be no science and technology, because 0 to 9 decimal number system was not there in Europe. It went from only in India. So this real picture has not been presented, it has not been understood, even by our own traditional scholars. They limit themselves to India only, but it is not India only, it's the greater India. You look at the whole globe, Romaka, in fact Surya Siddhanta was delivered to Mayasara by Surya at Romaka, that is Rome supposed to be. Siddhapura was Mexico, and Yavanas are the Greeks who went away from India. It was a global civilization. This is the point I am trying to submit to all of you. The Vedic wisdom spread throughout the globe. We have the records in the Upanishads that the Suryavamsa Kshatriyas, they ruled the entire globe. Saptadvipa Vasundhara. Rama and Rama's ancestors. Ayodhya is the capital. Dilip, Harishchandra, they lived the whole globe. So then they ruled the whole globe. The Vedic culture and Sanskrit language prevailed all over the globe. Gradually it got distorted into Greek or Persian and so on. So the knowledge base of the whole globe was from the Vedic Sanskrit sources. This is to be confirmed, and we have evidences of very advanced technology. Because if you look at the Charaka Samhita also, or Sushruta Samhita, Why is it that all these surgical instruments being used today by the surgeons in our hospitals everywhere are just copied from the Sushrut Samhita? And why is it that the layers of the layers of the skin, 7 layers of the skin have been mentioned by Susruta, which was discovered only recently in allopathy? And what was the medical system before penicillin was invented? Whole globe. It was nothing but Ayurveda, the herbal medicine. So these facts, and for example, yoga has remained unexplained. Why that Mayurasana can work wonders? Nobody knows. It works, that's all. So the very advanced science and technology has been continuing in our midst without understanding it. In fact, the bhasmas of Ayurveda have been confirmed to be nanoparticles which penetrate into the body and cure. So the more you dig in, you will get more revelations. And in fact, the Vimana Shastra is not a fake. A lot of people take a fashion in abusing Vimana Shastra. I have been able to successfully reproduce around a dozen items from the Vimana Shastra, including one machine. I could not produce a whole Vimana because it's very difficult to produce even one material. There are about 300 materials. And our friends like Sri Dwarkadasa also have worked on it, Lakshmi Dadacharya worked on it. All over globe, people have produced more than 20 different materials from the Vimana Shastra. How can it be fake? If one can be fake, two can be fake, 10. So this negative attitude towards ancient science and technology is the root cause of our backwardness, which is the brainwashing of the Macaulayan English education system, that all science came from England. Now I want to ask only one question. Is the description given in Mahabharata or in Puranas about the Astras or Vimanas or very advanced things, is it all fake or real? So a lot of people say it is fake, and a lot of people in this hall will say it is real, but neither of them have evidence. So evidence is what is required. So I request Department of Science and Technology to support investigations into the, say, Vimana Shastra, which is Pushpak Vimana is mentioned in Vimana Shastra also. Valmiki Ramayana is not a textbook of metallurgy or aeronautics to describe how to make Pushpak Vimana, but Vimana Shastra gives the procedure how to make. And so also many other texts. Around 100 texts have been referred in the Vimana Shastra. We don't have those texts. So the very advanced high technology in ancient Sanskrit manuscripts, which belong to the period before Mahabharata. Because after Mahabharata, everything came down and down, Kali Yuga. And so before Mahabharata only we have Vimanas, Astras, and all kinds of things. Can we delve into that with the help of our scholars? Can we decipher at least something? Of course, 90% we must have lost, or even 5%, 10% which is still remaining. Can we recover something with the use of modern technology? Say machine learning techniques, deep learning techniques. Can we apply them on these Sanskrit computational linguistics research issues or on NLP? In fact, the word Sanskrit, what does the word Sanskrit mean? Samskar kiya gaya. Samskar jo kiya gaya, wo Sanskrit. Kya kiya gaya samskar? Bhasha kiya gaya. Because Panini says bhasha, bhasha. So what is bhasha? It is not Sanskrit, but it's Prakrit. Natural language process. NLP is Sanskrit. Sanskrit means NLP. So both are same, because they have taken the various Prakrits, integrated and made into a universal language. That's why for the same word, water, we have 10 different words used in different regions of the world. Like Apa. Apa is also for equivalent of water, but it's used only in Kurdish language, Kurdistan, nowhere else. Vodaka is used in Russian. That's why vodka comes. And Jala in Bengal, and Tirtha in Tamil Nadu, and Neer in Karnataka and Telugu and Andhra. So these regional words have been integrated as synonyms in Sanskrit. So it is a processed language, integrates a global integrated language for the entire world, integrating the regional vocabulary also. So it is not a Prakrit, but it is Sanskrit. Therefore, it is amenable for automation. I have developed object knowledge model to represent knowledge in Sanskrit or its equivalent in a machine readable form, and have semantic web, which will be presenting today in my lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for touching upon so many aspects. In fact, I just want to mention one aspect before I invite the next speaker. The pilot's food, which is a very important aspect of Vimana Shastra, was deeply researched into by Professor Lakshmi Tatacharya, along with Dr. V. Prakash of the Central Food Technological Research Institute, which comes under CSIR. And in the Vimana Shastra, it mentions that goat's milk have to be given to pilots when they actually are on long haul flights so that they don't fall asleep. And this specific aspect of food was researched into in detail. And it was found that there is a specific entity called peptide, which is present in goat's milk, which will prevent people from going into sleep. So this aspect has been specifically validated and scientifically proven based on the modern scientific parameters. So like this, there are several aspects, as Dr. CSR Prabhuji just mentioned. It's not fake, or it's not something to do with like a cock and bull story. But we don't have the necessary paraphernalia or the support to validate these theories. Thank you very much, sir, once again for touching upon so many aspects. I now request our President, Professor Dwarka Dasa, to kindly give his presidential remarks.
So there's some afterthoughts, yes. So one aspect which, since Dr. Prabhu is here, Professor Dwarka Das ji is here, and Sudarshan ji is here, there's a new stream of study coming up that is called Big History. If any one of you has a chance of pursuing this course, there's online available, that is Big History. And the timeline of this Big History is 13.8 billion years, right? It is not in thousands or million years, so 13.8 billion years. What, as Dr. Prabhu mentioned, that when you don't own up things, then people are there to own it up. So this is a multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary kind of stream. It is not just historians who are doing this course. In this course, scientists and social scientists and expert of literature and language, they all are coming together and they are creating this history. And this is going to be a game changer in the study of historical streams. So what my request is that we have enough sources in our Indic literature and Indic treatise where we can establish that we had also a similar kind of approach of evolution of not only of this universe but also of mankind and other things. So Sanskrit has good material, and many other languages of India have good material to supplement what is being written in Big History. And as Dr. Prabhu was mentioning very rightly, that whatever went from India, it went to Arab, and through Coptic churches, it went to European civilizations. And if you follow that Big History course, you will come to know that when they copied things from Coptic churches in Arabic, they destroyed them so that you don't know the sources, right? So since we belong to the civilization from where these sources originated, so it is very high time for us to look into and dive into these sources deeper and try to contribute or supplement what is being done in Big History. This is, I think, a request to Sanskriti Foundation and all the scholars who are present here, that please look into this, and DST will be more than willing to support any such endeavor that comes forward. Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Very good morning to everybody. Sri Akhilesh Jaji, Dr. Sudarshan, Dr. Prabhu, ladies and gentlemen, many of whom I already know. In fact, I even see a couple of my students in the audience. I'm supposed to give remarks as a president of the function, Before I start my remarks, I'd like to first pay my obeisance to Professor Lakshmi Tatachar, whom we lost about a year ago. And he was the inspiration for me and for all of us. I got to know him about 30 years ago, and there was instant liking between us. And I told him, I admire your scholarship in Sanskrit. Train me to the same level of professional level, so I can also start speaking in Sanskrit and talk to you in Sanskrit. He said, Tarakdasa, that's useless. You already know enough Sanskrit to do something, but you know much more in science. Let us do something in science and show to the world that we know so much more. What people do not know, let's show them. And I think that really put us into some kind of deep thought and said, yes, this is right. I think we should start working in areas where we will not waste our time, but we utilize it in a way that will be useful to the society. I remember within a year after that, we had a seminar on steel in ancient India. It was held in Melkote, and I'll tell you, more than 200 people came there, and we had deliberations for 3 or 4 days, and we produced a fairly large amount of literature, and he had an exhibition of various things that he had collected. That really showed me what is the kind of person Professor Lakshmi Tatachar is. I mean, he was so much elder to me, but the amount of energy he showed, him, the amount of enthusiasm he showed in doing this work was very inspiring. And he told me, you are an expert in metallurgy, let's do something in metallurgy, because Indians were specialists in metallurgy long ago, years ago. It is in this connection, I think I had a lot of kind of correspondence with Professor Prabhu also to make some of these alloys that were mentioned in the Vaimonic Shastra. And I think we were very successful in making some of these. Professor Tachachar himself wanted to make manufacture some of these alloys. I say manufacture because he wanted to make large size things, not small little things, specimens. And he started something somewhere nearby in Melkote, but somehow it did not come up because we didn't have monetary support. That brings me to the point of what kind of support people like these can get from anywhere. I can tell you, Professor Tatachar has made a trip to Delhi every month, telling people, this is what I want to do. And he got appreciation from everywhere, but not a single pie. This is not because they didn't want to give. This is because there are formalities, procedures. We cannot violate the procedures. Only in recent times we have been successful in getting some funding from several agencies. I also should mention that recently we got some foundation, Mohandas Pai Foundation, to work on metallurgy in ancient times. And we have produced a certain collection of literature which is going to be shown. What I would like to say here is there must be some mechanism by which works like these get supported. Somebody talked about crowdfunding. I remember when we had the function to celebrate 80 years of Professor Lakshmi Tatachar, I mentioned this to the group saying, crowdfunding, everybody contributes something and we get a small amount of money and this can go to support the research in whatever these scholars are doing. I did not know how it takes off, but it didn't take off at that time. If some of you know it, please do it. We need support, not small support, we need a huge amount of support. If I tell you that Dr. Alvar now has with him something like 8,000 manuscripts which are related to science and technology. And if you want to extract material from that, it'll take 8,000 years. Or if you have 100 people, we can do it very quickly. But where will I support the 100 people? This is the problem we have. Anyway, this is one of the things that we need to address and find out how we can support work of this kind to answer what Professor Prabhu just now mentioned. He mentioned a lot of things. In a short time, it is mind-boggling to see how many things he covered already in that small speech. If Tatachar was here today with us, he would have simply loved it, what he mentioned. Dr. Sudarshan mentioned exact words of Professor Tatachar. He mentioned saying seasonal food, enjoy seasonal food, don't go somewhere else, don't produce this and distribute everywhere because it will lose its speciality. He mentioned it so many times. One of the biggest things that I found from him, which I'm sure most of you have also found, is that he was a Sanskrit scholar. At the same time, he was a scientist. This combination is very difficult to find. There are real stalwarts in Sanskrit. I've gone to places like Banaras and places. There's so many of them who know Sanskrit so well, but you talk to them about science, they feign ignorance. But what we need today is somebody who knows Sanskrit, somebody who knows science, so he can appreciate both of these. So we can then say, yes, this was there, I can make use of it now today. That's the kind of work Samskriti Foundation wants to do and has been dabbling in so many of these areas. Today's seminar, what you see in the program, is about artificial intelligence, about machine language, natural language processing, use of computers, all of these. So all of these Samskriti Foundation has dabbled in it and has achieved success in several areas. And Lakshmi Tatacharya would have loved to say that my success here is because I know that. Very few people can understand it. Very few people can understand it. That relation between what was there, what was existing, and what has come up. We are not saying it is already there. We will not say that. It is that which has developed into this. The knowledge has grown into this, that kind of. But we had some kind of seeds sown at that time into these areas. So what we are saying, therefore, is that there are attempts to unravel what as science was existed at that time, how it can impact us or how it can help us, how we can make use of it to our own development. He mentioned Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita and so on. All of those are being used today in different formats, in developed formats. But the knowledge somewhat existed at that time. So we would like to therefore make use of those knowledge, extract from that and see what was there in it. Today I could say most of us are ignorant about it. We don't know about it. I mean, my eyes were open when I met him and when he went and showed me how he has preserved some 36,000 manuscripts in his library. And he said, this set of manuscripts here gives you knowledge about this kind of science, this engineering, and so on. Professor Prabhu just now very rightly mentioned, if you can have that beautiful sculpture made, it could not be made without the knowledge of all kinds of science. Even science of measurement was perfect at that time. I think that Vishnu temple I saw in Aurangabad is a marvel. Nobody mentions it. This is the kind of thing we would like to do, and I'm so happy that DST has come forward to support it. And now that it has started, I'm sure we'll get much more support from government departments. and we can do a lot more work. And Samskriti Foundation is looking forward to expanding itself in several areas because we have to do it quickly. We don't want to wait for another 15, 20, 30 years and say we have done. We would like to do it very quickly, and for that we need support. And any of you have any ideas how we can do it, please come forward and let us know. One of the things that Professor Lakshmi Tatsachar wanted to do all the time is to invite people to Melkote and show them what's being done. I'm going to repeat that. Please do come. You're all welcome to Melkote. Come there. Please see what we are doing, and you will be really amazed at the amount of work that has been done. You're most welcome. I'm extremely happy. I would like to thank DST for the excellent support that they have given, and I would like you to give much more support. I don't know how we will do it because there are procedures. We cannot say I will give it to you like this. We need to follow standard procedures. I myself enjoyed more than 20 projects from DST when I was working here, and I would like to say that there are exciting times for us. And in the recent times, I've also seen more and more people are taking interest in Sanskrit and ancient knowledge systems. And it's a very beautiful sign. We are highly optimistic about it. I'm sure a lot more will be done. I'm sure the next 2 days you will have really enjoyable expositions of these three areas. I'm sure you'll be benefited from this, and please enjoy it. And we look forward to many more of this. We are having this conference as an obligatory requirement in the DSC project, and therefore we probably will follow it up with one more next year, third one in the third year. We will see how we can develop into that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I am extremely thankful. In fact, thanks is an understatement. For want of a better word, I am just mentioning the word thank you, because Professor Dwarka Dasa is not only the head, but he is also the backbone of the organization, guiding us all the way through by hand-holding us and rendering all types of support. And before I go to the vote of thanks, I would like to bring to the notice of all those who are assembled here the unique contribution of reaching the Shri program to the masses of Dr. Pramod, who is here representing the Ministry of Science and Technology. In fact, he is piloting the Science Heritage Research Initiative. Tomorrow he will be addressing us as one of the panelists in the panel discussion that is to be held in the afternoon tomorrow. In Kannada there is a saying, Devaru vara kotru pujari vara kodalla. Even though the God is ready to give something, the pujari is not ready, because the pujari may not be appreciative of the facts. But we have a very unique person in Pramod who is very much passionate about this program. Many a times we find scientists, etc., in various departments or even officials who are not passionate about implementing the government policies. But in Dr. Pramod, we have a very passionate person who is very encouraging, and also he says, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? In fact, we don't have the necessary paraphernalia to implement lot of projects. But I very, with a deep sense of gratitude, I would like to place on record the contribution of Pramod ji, not only in helping us, but several projects across fields. And I think with his stewardship, the government of India will be able to unearth several hidden truths of our Sanskrit language, literature, and also the Indian knowledge systems. So we look forward to having you on the panel tomorrow. Thank you very much. So we have come to the end of the inaugural session. I now request the president of our organization, Professor Dwarka Dasa, to kindly felicitate Shri Akhilesh Jha ji. மாலை போடணும். I now request our Honorable President to kindly felicitate Shri Sudarshan Ji. I now request our President to kindly felicitate Shri CSR Prabhuji. And I'll take myself the privilege of honoring our President, Professor Dwarka Dasan. I thank all the dignitaries and I thank the audience for their patient hearing and active participation. Now we break for tea for 15 minutes. Exactly at 11:45, the session, academic session will start. So I request all of you to proceed for the tea break and have tea and snacks that is arranged outside the hall. And for your kind information, lunch is arranged at 1:15 p.m. in the greenhouse, which is just across the road, main road. You have to just walk about 50 meters from here. So I request all of you to kindly join us for lunch at 1:15 p.m. And then once again we'll assemble here at 2:15. We'll have the second academic session. And after that we'll have tea break and then the third academic session. We'll be closing by 5:15. So I request all of you to kindly proceed for the tea break and assemble here exactly at 11:45. Thank you very much.